Hey everybody, my name is Mike Nicholson and I'm a policy analyst with Alabama Rise. Earlier this week on Monday, August 14th, I got to sit in on a court case where the court was hearing some arguments made by the state of Alabama over our redistricting saga that's been going on over the last couple of months. I wanted to take a couple of minutes to kind of share a little bit about that particular court case, how we got there, and what that means for us as a state going forward. So all of this actually started when the same panel of 3 judges ruled that Alabama was disenfranchising African American voters because it was denying them the opportunity to elect candidates of their choice. Because African Americans make up such a large portion of Alabama's population, this panel basically ruled that although we have one district where black Alabamians can elect a candidate of their choice, they really should be entitled to 2 districts. So right now we have 7 House districts and only one of them can feasibly elect an African American representative. So this panel essentially said, Alabama, we need you to redraw your maps so that there's at least a second district where there's at least a hope of electing a candidate of African Americans choosing in that district. This turned into an extensive court case, and it actually made it all the way to the Supreme Court. And in the Supreme Court's view, in a 5-4 decision, they upheld the lower court's decision, and they said this is correct. Alabama should redraw their lines. They are currently disenfranchising African American voters, and the state of Alabama should do everything it can to come up with a more fair map. So that's kind of how we got here. This hearing was the state of Alabama's chance to kind of defend the map that the legislature ended up drawing and ended up being signed by Governor Ivey. So importantly, the map that the state of Alabama went with and the map that Governor Ivey signed pretty much directly defies this panel of judges, not to mention the Supreme Court. So before our House district map had one district, Terry Sewell's district, where about 54% of the voters were of a black voting age population, right? This new map actually reduced that number to just at 50%, and it created a second district where the black voting age population is about 40%. Now, I don't think many reasonable people would say in the state of Alabama that 40% black voting age population constitutes a large enough group for folks to be able to elect a candidate of their choosing. So it was pretty clear to myself and a lot of other folks that the state of Alabama wasn't all that concerned with the court's ruling or the Supreme Court's ruling, which was really disappointing. So on the 14th, in that court case, a lot of the discussion revolved around the state of Alabama and their defense of this map and why they were able to, or how they could possibly justify ignoring the Supreme Court's ruling as well as the judge's ruling. And I felt, and I think everyone in that room felt, extreme frustration, pretty much radiating from these judges. They were, as patiently as they could, asking the representatives of the state of Alabama to explain how they could pretty much ignore their requirements that a second opportunity district be drawn, or a district that African Americans have a good shot at electing a candidate of their choosing. And I think myself and others in the room were pretty dissatisfied with the answers given in defense of this map, and the judges certainly seemed frustrated, and a lot of the folks in the room seemed frustrated as well. So they have until this coming Saturday to submit some final evidence, so we probably won't have a ruling on the actual case until a couple of weeks at the earliest, maybe early September. But chances are the judges will either say this map is good, or they'll say this map did not follow the guidelines that were ordered by the court, and we're going to have a special master draw a new map for Alabama to use in future elections. So we'll definitely keep y'all updated if that happens, when that happens, and what that ruling means. But when it comes down to it, Alabama is essentially doing what they've done, for decades at this point, which is the federal government comes to the aid of minority groups, tries to protect the rights of African Americans, especially when it comes to voting, and the state goes out of its way to do everything it can to defy that order. And unfortunately, even though it's 2023, we're seeing similar behavior being done by our state right now. Thank y'all for taking the time to watch this video and get updated. We'll definitely post some more information when the court makes its decision. Until then, make sure to stay in touch. Check out our website at allarise.org for more general information about the issues that we work on. And as always, thank you for your continued support.